What happens in Georgia gets revealed one by one as the facts are unsealed. From the pit comes what they don't want you to see. When the daily nugget of truth is dropped with your host, BKP.
Daddy! Settle down, man.
Dear Georgia Legislature, no guards or bologna sandwiches were harmed in the making of this video of the Frosty Shit Show saga. Love, Georgia citizens.
Hey, how are you today, folks? Good to be back here on this Monday. Seems like every single day I'm coming on the air and saying, sorry that I'm running a little late. Yes, seems like every day. Let me get this started here. 1 and 2. That should work. I'm your host, BKP, and you're watching BKP Politics on Voice of RuralAmerica.com. I got some messages about Friday, the audio being a little hot. I have to adjust that. I mean, I produce what we do here by myself now, and so I got to work on audio sometimes. I got to work on the video sometimes. So I'm wearing the sling today. The other couple days, I did not wear the sling. If you're new to the show, I broke my arm right here. I don't have to wear the sling if I have it like this, but I come off the program a couple days a little sore. As we come to you today, obviously we are at war, and we're definitely, let me take this off here. We're at war with Iran. Now, there's a lot of back and forth when I say that. All right. What number do I want here? Boots on the ground. So as I come to you today, BKP, voiceofruralamerica.com, BKP Politics. I haven't checked within the last hour, but we have 4 Americans that are dead because of this casualty. And I have the tape. You know, when you do this every day, you have the tape. So you can't run away. I get so frustrated. Like, these talking heads and these programs and these networks will just come on one day after the next as though yesterday did not exist. Yesterday, it doesn't matter if you go look up what they said. Doesn't matter. It didn't exist. They didn't say it. Move on. But I acknowledge every single day I have the tape on things. And I have always been and always will be opposed to war. I really will. And I put out a Substack yesterday, not a video, just a Substack, and you can read it. And I got pushback on it because I'm an America first. I am America first. But I do not believe America first that we are able to be isolationist. And with I don't want to defend war, but with Joe Biden allowing 30 million, we'll go with 30 million to cross the border illegally, the gotaways, we don't know where they're at, Chinese gangs, Middle Eastern men. I've talked to sheriffs that said that they have several groups of Middle Eastern men. They haven't broke the law. They haven't done anything illegal, but they're very concerned because they're new to the area and they're keeping an eye on things. I've talked to law enforcement. So we don't know what's in the country. We don't. But what I do know is they have made a move. I ran through Obama. Remember the $400 million in cash on pallets? Remember that? It totaled up to like $1.7 billion we gave back to Iran. So they were basically broke. They were basically broke. So Obama gave them money back so they can fund terrorist cells all around the world once again. I mean, that would be 3 or 4 shows in a row, right? And we know that. And we know the oil that they sell. And we know that they were able to get beachfront property in Venezuela. In 2022, they signed a 20-year agreement, okay? A relationship agreement with Maduro down in Venezuela. They have agreements in Cuba. These boats that have these shadow IDs, whatever they're called, right? Ghost IDs on these boats. Iran's involved in that. So they actually have come to our southern hemisphere, right? Right there. Now, if we liberate Iran and we liberate Venezuela and we liberate Cuba and we reduce the threat from our southern border and in our hemisphere. So I'm going to say, look, President Trump, I support you. I am not for war. I'm not. Okay? I mean, if you can't get the job done, and I would love to say with zero casualties, but if you can't get the job done and it's going to cost $1 trillion and we got to be there 20 years, there's a lot of concern there. But what I find interesting is I find the attacks on myself, my generation and older, right? And I hear the younger generation claim they do not want war anywhere. Okay. Boots on the ground. I don't want boots on the ground. My prayers are with the men and women. A friend of mine I went to high school with, her son is in the military and over there, and she's all upset. I mean, seriously. So, boots on the ground. I'm concerned. But there's cheers all around the world today concerning the liberation of Iran and what's going on. So I'm going to leave that there for now. All right. But I don't want to say thoughts and prayers. Our prayers are with the families of the men and women that are in this mission. And my prayer is sincerely that the mission is what it should be. Look, I don't go down the road. I don't go to Tucker Carlson, and I don't go to the Turning Point. This is the wrong show if you do that, okay? You do what you want to do. I don't do the Candace Owens. I don't. All right? The best thing I thought Candace Owens ever, like I enjoyed, was Macron's Bridget being a man. I enjoyed that. That was fun. But all that being said, I don't go down those roads. But I do know this. Iran does not want to be a neighbor to anyone. They don't want to be a neighbor to Iraq. They don't want to be a neighbor to Saudi Arabia. They don't want to be a neighbor to Israel. They do want to wipe Israel off the face of the map. They do not want to be a neighbor in that region, okay? And we don't understand a region, and I am not a professional on foreign policy. But Iran does not want to participate in that region. That being said. So let me get out of here before I get into foreign policy. And that's not my thing. All right. So I left here the other day and I was thinking to myself, because we have the governor's race. We have Rick Jackson running against Burt Jones. I just had to pause because I heard one or two of you say, well, wait a minute, Chris Carr qualified today and Brad Raffensperger's running for governor and there's other candidates in the race. Okay. But recently, Rick Jackson coming into the race, and the campaign just released a campaign song. It's just unreal. We're not going to play it right now, the Rick Jackson campaign. But so I am going to come to the Resolute desk every single day and make sure that I'm not sounding as though I'm campaigning for a candidate. I want to make sure that I really do. That I'm not in favor of another candidate. I will tell you this, if a candidate campaigns and they hit the marks that I look for, because I am a limited government, all right, America first, free market America first, right? I'm a fiscal conservative. I'm a constitutionalist, period. I'm a Christian. And if someone talks to me in the language of tearing down the entire, tearing it completely down and collapsing the political machine, they're singing my song. It's one of the favorite hits on the album, right? I said this when I closed Friday, and I want to open up with this. I said this when I closed Friday. If you're representative in any area whatsoever, if they're on their third, not second, you may feel they ran one term, and you know what? I like what they did. I want another term. But if they're on their third, fourth, fifth term or more, it's not because they're doing a good job. Mine is, how dare you talk? Okay, all right. So we let you say yours. Okay, yours is better than everybody else. We'll go with that. But if you're out there and your representative in any way whatsoever is on their third, fourth, fifth, sixth term or more, it's not because they're doing a great job. It's because the system is rigged. Seriously, the system is rigged. You cannot fund a campaign to compete with these people. And then if you're on your sixth term and you've gotten all the trading advice and you've made all the money on trading stock, whatever it may be, or the lobbyists have you set up for a lifetime and whatever it may be, okay? Because that's what starts taking place in 3, 4, 5, and 6, if not sooner. Then you say, you know what? It's mine, because that's what you think, and who shall be my heir apparent? Who shall get the throne? Bring me those two there. I want to see you battle. Battle in front of me. I am the king. I am the king of your state senate seat. I am the lord of the valley. Battle in front of me. Whoever wins the battle, I will turn over my throne and give you a pot of gold to convince the people that you will be a great new king. I don't know where that comes from. I mean, but is that not the truth? So the system's rigged, right? Now, getting back to what I really wanted to say. So if someone's singing my tune. Now, Burt Jones is running for governor. He's been in the Georgia State Senate for several years. He is in his 4th year as lieutenant governor of the state. It's almost like he's not a greenhorn. It's almost like he knows everybody down there. It's almost like when he goes to the Capitol, he served with most of these people in the Georgia State Senate, or he has presided over the Senate with these people as the lieutenant governor. So something took place last week, and I dwelt on it. Do you know what dwelting is? I don't know what dwelting is, but I did it anyway. So I dwelt on this, and I sit outside. What a beautiful weekend. I mean, I was knocking down cheap cigars like you would not believe. Hey, last month, I had the shivers. I can't go out there and puff with the shivers. Can't do it. So yesterday, I'm out there all weekend, right? I'm puffing down. I've got the cheap cigars. I'm knocking it down, right? How does that get up like that so high? There we go. I took it down a little bit. Let's see. I'm sorry if that got really, really loud, but it seems like my audio creeps up on me. But anyhow, so I'm thinking this weekend, did I did I look at something wrong? Like, should I review one of what some would consider a small blip last week in Burt Jones's campaign? And if I feel an innocent mistake was made, I'm going somewhere with this. If I feel an innocent mistake was made on behalf of Governor Burt Jones, that I would come back and address it. And this is what went around last week. We're going to play the video, right? We're going to play the video. Then we're going to come back because I thought to myself, they have a chaplain of the day, right? The House chamber has a chaplain of the day. The Senate has a chaplain of the day. And this is what happened last week. Let me put this up here. And let me get this right here. Hold on.
Kimball, I heard a rumor that you made history today.
What's the rumor?
I've heard that you are the first openly trans person to be the chaplain of the day in the Georgia State Senate and to deliver the opening prayer.
I think that might be true, yes. So, yes, I just got done finishing my devotion, and it was a fun time to get to chat with them and reflect with them. So, yeah.
So did you tell them they need to stop passing anti-trans legislation?
I did not speak about anything, any specific legislation. I reminded them that our various faith traditions call us to treat each other as we would like to be treated. That's kind of probably the closest thing we have to a universal ethic. And just reminded them that, when we remember how we actually have a lot in common, that we're all just human beings, that we're all just people made in God's image, that can help us to extend that love to others that maybe we don't know very well, or maybe who we might disagree with.
That's really great. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you. It was a fun way to start the day.
So, first trans, right? First trans to offer daily prayers, okay, in the Georgia State Senate, making history. Now, let's not turn this in. There's several transgender candidates this year. There's several transgender candidates running for office in Georgia. And, the Senate has an my understanding, openly trans state senator. I think there's one serving in the Georgia State Senate. But, when this happened, this went around, this was made public. This is not a private video. This was made public. They were very proud of it, put it out. He made history. So what happened was, and when I say this, is Laura Loomer got a hold of it. Now, there's going to be some names here that you're going to be like, well, wait a minute. That's not the story. So Laura Loomer got a hold of it. And she got a hold of it, and she posted it here. And the bottom says, Georgia Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, who is running for governor of Georgia as a supported Trump Republican, invited the first openly gay transgender to serve as chaplain of the Senate for the day. So that got all fired up. Laura Loomer and then D.C. Drano and someone else got it all fired up, right? Because actually Republicans have a generic ad out, I watched it on TV, where Trump points to the transgender from Delaware, I forget the name, and he looks at the Democrats and he said, these are sick people. All right? That's what he said. So right off the heels of that, This is Reverend Kimball. Is that the name, Kimball? I'll get it here in a minute. I hope I didn't. Let's see, is it Kimball? Anyhow, was chaplain of the day. Kimball. I think it's Kimball. But that being said, chaplain of the day. Then immediately, the Burt Jones babes, the Burt's babes freaked out and went to his defense. And I started thinking, wait a minute, because if someone gives you information, I want you to be able to trust it. So if I can't trust you on this, how do I trust you on that? We'll put it like, I'll get there, I'll explain. If I can't trust you here, how do I trust you there? All right? So Laura Loomer comes back out and said, sources close to Burt Jones, we know who the sources are, and his campaign tell me the lieutenant governor is unhappy about my post and says he got catfished by the trans chaplain. He saw what looked like a beard and suit with a beard, right? He didn't know it was a woman. They asked Burt for a photo, sources tell me. All right, so, okay. So, all right, so I started thinking, well, wait a minute. If I have, if it was just a mistake, if there was no way of knowing, I mean, the guy's running for governor of Georgia, right? If there was just no way of knowing, if this guy is busy, he's going through the legislative session, he's a lieutenant governor, he's sitting in the office, they know how it works. Hey, lieutenant governor, it's time to open the session. He goes up there, the guy's got a beard. I mean, there's no way for him to know. And I thought, well, wait a minute. I want to make sure that if the guy just got taken by surprise, if there was no way he knew, he could have never dreamed this would have happened, then I want to clear it up for him. So I said, I think it's my obligation to you, the audience, to say, hey, what did happen? How did this happen? So, now, Laura Loomer went on to paste the pictures here, as you can see. Here's 2 photos of Burt Jones openly embracing Reverend Kimball Sorrells. That's who it is, Reverend Kimball Sorrells, the first openly transgender pastor to chaplain of the day at the Georgia Capitol earlier this week. Bizarre behavior for someone running on a GOP ticket to be the governor of Georgia. Weird, right? And they're freaking out. So she goes out and she says, all right, they're telling me you got catfished. All right. So immediately, Burt's babes jump out there. They jump out there. Burt's babes jump right out there. And Holly, I've never seen a scene that I wouldn't grift off of Kessel. For anyone wanting to know, I have acquired the open record, and it was Senator Sally Harrell who invited the chaplain that day, not Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones. So I said, okay, all right. Now, if you're going to put out information, this is like with me. I put this information out already, and I thought to myself, whoa, wait a minute. I've always realized you're out there. As the jokes go, all 38 of you, but there's a lot more. But you're out there. So if, for any reason whatsoever, I bring you information and I can't sleep at night, that's just the truth. I got to come and clear it up. All right? So I said, I got to look at this a little closer. So they immediately start running with this. And I say, okay, how does this happen? I mean, and then why is Holly running that interference for Bert immediately. And then underneath there it said, and she tags Laura Loomer and says, actually, you're wrong here, Laura Loomer. He does not invite them. The Senate or representatives, they do. Here is the example. So, okay, this seems innocent. I'm thinking to myself, okay. So if you're going to run cover for someone, because I'm going to show you something else, all right? And then she went on to give me a civics lesson. Because there's nothing more I want in the course of the day than a civics lesson from Holly Kessel, all right? We don't just need a civic engagement here. We need civic education. Okay. So I thought, well, you know, maybe I better look. Because maybe Bert was just tricked. Now, he's running for governor of Georgia, and what I want to make sure of, as the next governor of Georgia, that no one's going to hoodwink him, all right? Pull the wool over his eyes. All the cliches you can come up with, right? I don't want him to trip over, you know, a little snag in the rug. Nothing to happen. Could possibly be next governor of Georgia. So I said, I got to look at this a little closer. Because when someone comes out and starts running the D, let me get out in front of this, because Holly's not the only babe out there, as in Bert's babes, that are out there running the D to shut this down. And am I making too much out of it? Because he could be the next governor of Georgia. Just saying. So, actually, you're wrong here, Laura. He does not invite, blah, blah, blah. We need a civics lesson. So I said, okay, let me look at this a little closer. So I looked at the invitation. Now, first of all, the facts. This is the House of Representatives, but this is the Senate. Now, the lieutenant governor presides over the Georgia State Senate, period. Do they keep up with every single move at every single time? No. Do they keep up with every procedural thing? No, they do not. But, if you're running for governor of Georgia, put somebody out in front of you to make sure you don't trip over the carpet, because that wouldn't look good in a picture. So I went there and I looked and I asked questions and did a little research. So here it is. This is what you do. So the Office of the Secretary of State, Chaplain of the Day request form. It's a request. This is not mandatory. Just because you're a state senator or a state representative does not mean you get to have a chaplain of the day. You're making a request. So that's okay. Now here's the check mark. Please place my name on the list for a chaplain of the day. Doesn't mean you have to. Now, right here it is, right? Chaplain contact information, Reverend Kimball Sorrells. Now, this is all blacked out, but the Secretary of the Senate's office has the address, has a phone number, has an email. Research and background can be done. Well, up to this point, it's still possible. I mean, should Democrats, just because Republicans have control of the state Senate, should Democrats not get a chance to put someone up there as chaplain of the day? I don't know that that's fair. We won't go into fair. Fair is a place you take a pig to win a blue ribbon. So I don't know if, if you just say Democrats, boom. But then you go, who was the Democrat? And it says Sally Harrell. Okay. District 40. Sally Harrell, District 40. So let me think about this for a minute. So this is the request that was made. So here's the picture, right? And Burt Jones, Lieutenant Governor, seems to be very proud to have his picture with Reverend Sorrells. Reverend Sorrells has a beard. And Sally Harrell, the Georgia State Senator, right? No big deal. And here he is in the well. That's not him. Here he is in the well of the Senate shaking his hand. Burt Jones. saying hi, how are you? Nice handshake there with the senator. So it's not like Burt Jones caught off guard that this is Sally Harrell, chaplain of the day. So I thought, okay, who is this Sally Harrell? I mean, am I making too much out of this? I got to, because if there's a correction needs done, if like, hey, Burt Jones wants to be governor and it's no big deal and he got hoodwinked and come on, move on. How would he have never known? How would he have ever known that this could happen? Or how could the Secretary of the Senate? I mean, there's no clues, right? So here I go here. I go to Sally Harrell. I want to get my facts straight. District 40, children. She has children. Government oversight. These are the committees she's on: children and families, health and human services. She is District 40, so I do know that the same person here, that's right there, okay. Atlanta, District 40. All right, got it. So is there anything about this lady? Now, the date on this article, here's what you got to keep in mind. Today is March 2nd. Fresh, right? Clock goes forward, springs forward this week. It's March. All right, Rodney Harris down at Atlanta News First says by Saturday it's going to be 83 degrees. But, it was only a week ago that this happened. And what happened just the week before that? So this article comes out, I think it's February 16th or February 13th, 2026. This article I'm about to put this piece out is only a week old before Reverend Swirls takes the podium. The Senate was discussing House Bill 54, a measure that was supposed to let registered nurses and physicians assist in home health care services for patients. But Senate Republicans changed the bill so that it would also restrict transgender adults and children from accessing gender-affirming care. Now, this is on February 13th, right? About a week later, the transgender shows up by accident. Now, 15 days, State Senator Sally Harrell, wait a minute. 15 days, State Senator Sally Harrell said on day 16 of the 40-day legislative session, 15 days is a record when we didn't mention transgender people once in the chamber, and I could tell you it's been great. Harrell, stay with me, Harrell, a Democrat from Atlanta with two transgender children. Now, the AJC knows she has transgender children. The AJC knows she advocates for transgender, right? Burt Jones, now him and his office, and they don't know it, right? She has the lady, I'm going to show you in a minute. Now we go back. The lady that Burt Jones is standing next to has two transgender daughters. Wonder what chaplain she would bring. If given the chance, which chaplain would she bring? Interesting. I think it's worth looking at before you give them the green line. Okay, so with two transgender children has been at the forefront of the debate since Republican senators first began targeting transgender people in legislation. The last 5 years, all this debate has been so incredibly stressful for me and my family, she said on this day, February 13th, just a week before she brought the Reverend. Harrell said, "We've worked on this transgender issue for 5 years. Isn't that enough?" The new bill, which passed the Senate 30-18 on Tuesday, is now a combination of the original bill and 2 proposals that passed the Senate last year but did not pass the House. So, that was in February. Just 2 weeks ago. February's only got 28 days. This was on the 13th. This is about 2 weeks ago. A week later, after this, the AJC knows, and she's not a freshman senator. She's been there for 5 years fighting this one battle alone. But when she puts in to bring the clergy of the day, why, that just... You would have never dreamed she'd do something like that. Then, number 12. Where are we at here? Boom. I just pulled another one. Georgia Senate passes ban on transgender sports despite personal testimony. Atlanta Democrat Senator Sally Harrell fought back emotions in the Senate chamber Thursday as she urged her colleagues to vote down the bill to ban transgender girls from playing girls' sports. I'm a mother of a trans child, she said, and it's hard to stand up here and say that because it hurts. It really, really hurts. And my kid contacted me last night and said, is that bill going to come up on the Senate today? And I said, yes, it is. And I'm dreading it. I just want this to stop, she added, because this feels premature and feels judgmental. Now, this came out January 4th, 2022. This came out February 24th, 2022. I mean, there's a long list of articles. There's nothing surprising in this Senate. She's been in this Senate for years. She's been in district right here. She's been in District 40 for years. She's been very clear, open, and upfront, right? There she stands next to her Reverend, and there's Burt Jones shaking hands. It's not like Burt Jones just met Sally, right? And, oh, that's the albino rhino. And there she is with Burt. And here is the request. You see, they have the clergy's name. They have the clergy's address. They could do research with the clergy before they ever approve it. It's not a state Senate rule. They have to approve it. And then here is Holly telling me I need a civics lesson, right? And here she is telling Laura Loomer that it's not Burt Jones's fault. Why he could have never dreamed that Sally would bring a transgender chaplain for the day to do the daily devotional. The only reason I went down this road is because if for some reason I got to thinking this weekend, what if this person that filled the form out, what if maybe she's going to church there? She don't know. I don't know. I mean, did this just happen by accident? Or was there someone waiting outside? He or she. My God, I don't want to misgender. Don't want to get into any misgendering here today. But this individual, I forget his or her name, is running for State House, but it seems like they were waiting outside because they got right there on there, Reverend Kimball Sorrells makes history. It's almost like they knew they were slam dunking on Burt Jones' ass that day. Huh. But there was no clues. Nothing gave it away. No, nothing to see here. So I just wanted to say, if we do a story on this show about any candidate or anyone that could alter a vote or get you to vote a different way or look at a different candidate, and there's something wrong with the story, I got to come back. So I went through it thoroughly, and I have concerns of who would be running interference in the governor's office. I mean, seriously, if Bert, I mean, maybe if Bert is in the governor's office, I mean, I don't want to end up with something like, you know, maybe he'll have the boy wonder. Maybe the boy wonder, Greg Dolezal can run interference. Don't forget, by day, Ron Pitts. Now, the one other thing I want to show you before I move on, because this whole endorsement thing of the President of the United States. So, we're using our example of our Burt Babe of the day is Holly Kessler, okay? And I can get others that they just went nuts over the weekend. Enough said. Donald Trump endorsed Burt Jones. Donald Trump, this lady here, you can go look hers up. She has it all over there. Donald Trump prefers Burt Jones. Donald Trump said Burt Jones is the pick. But then when you get over to Texas, and I'm not saying anything or disagreeing, but when you get over to Texas, she said Republican, real Donald Trump, President of the United States, you must rescind your endorsement of Greg Abbott and get behind Doc. As go Texas, so goes the nation. Now, in Texas, she's decided it's okay for Trump to rescind his endorsement of Greg Abbott. That's fine in Texas. But in Georgia, God forbid, Brad Raffensperger run, God forbid, Chris Carr run, God forbid, Rick Jackson run. God forbid you give the voters a choice. And I can appreciate Trump's endorsed Burt Jones, but that doesn't stop me from wanting to review my candidates and look at them. But no, you got to get rid of them in Texas, though. All right, so I want to show you something. I want you to keep an eye on this as we move along, because I got a late start. I was watching the stuntman here. Look, SB 568, we'll talk about it tomorrow. It's not a bad piece of legislation, but even Max Burns said today in the Senate Ethics Committee meeting, it passed out of there. It's probably going to judicial now. I think that's where it goes now. But even he said it's going to be a challenge to get this bill in place for November of 2026. And I just want to say on for those out there that, you know, the boy wonder is out there. See, Rob Pitts was there today. I wonder if he said hello to Rob. Right? There is Rob Pitts. He was there, Fulton County. He testified today with his friend Greg Dolezal, the boy wonder. I just want to say this to you. I want to ask you a question. As this bill is moving, SB 568, it's not a bad bill. We'll get into that later. But do you really think John Burns over at the House of Representatives and Brian Kemp, do you really think they're going to give Burt Jones and Greg Dolezal a win and carry this bill all the way to the finish line? Just saying. Now, this last week, I want you to keep an eye on this. Georgia Senate skips the vote on bill to block data center cost from hiking power bills, okay? Now, I brought this to you last week. The Georgia Senate adjourned Thursday without voting on a bill that would prevent electric utilities from passing data center infrastructure costs onto residential customers, a move critics said was designed to avoid a likely defeat for Republican leadership. SB 34 would prohibit Georgia Power and other utilities from charging residential customers and small businesses for costs associated with powering large commercial data centers. Okay? Now, we're going to talk about data centers in a minute, all right, in Georgia. But keep this in mind. Watch what happens to this bill SB 34 and follow Georgia Power, the money. I mean, follow the money that may change hands. Later in the week, hopefully I'll have a little more that I can say, because I have to be accurate. I can't just go, boom! Can't do it. Now, so I got one more story today. Like I said, I'm running late because I was watching. All right, warning, Will Robinson. Do you understand what that means? Warning, Will Robinson. There you go, the 6th. Today's the 3rd. Friday's it. You got to pay attention to legislation. They're down there dicing and slicing. They got the Ginsu knives out. They're cutting and ripping and stripping and pasting and taping. Bills here, bills there, shoving them together, because Friday is, I don't know how I do that. I don't know why I do that, but there we are. But Friday is crossover day, meaning legislation from the Senate has to be voted on the floor by midnight Friday. It's sent to the House and vice versa. Yes. Day 28, crossover. Ready? So, moving right along. This week is qualifying week. So, between now and Friday, we'll find out between every state house, state senate, congressional race, governor's race, lieutenant governor's race, you name it. It's qualifying week at the Capitol. We will see by the end of the week. This is where you put your money up and you get your name on the ballot. And Candace Taylor did put her name on the ballot. Now, in the 14th district, I want you to keep something in mind that's very important. In fact, let me go here right now and see. I'm going to go to federal, and I want to go here for a reason. I'm going to go federal, and then I'm going to go to 14th district, and I'm going to see who qualified. And what I mean by that is okay, so the 14th district are Marjorie Taylor Greene, and this is the guy right here, Sean Harris. I'll tell you what, at 5 a.m. this morning, and you're wondering who might see this at 5 a.m. this morning, Atlanta News First, I'm watching, and this guy's got a commercial on there, and the guy says something, not to quote it. Yes, I have a dog in the background that just barks like crazy. When Bella Boo, that's her name, when Bella Boo decides it's time to bark, Bella Boo barks. Anyhow, if you can hear that, I just wanted you to know. But Sean Harris, the Democrat, who may come in first in this jungle primary, this guy right here had an ad this morning, and he throws Democrats and Republicans under the bus. He said, Democrats have let you down, Republicans have let you down. It's actually a very good ad. Now, they are running to fill Marjorie Taylor Greene's term. Got it? So, to know they're serious, they have to go qualify this week to run in the May primary. Oh, yeah, it's convoluted. So, who is seriously putting their money up? Brian Stover is qualified in the 14th. James Tully is qualified. Nikki Lama has qualified. And I do know on the Democrat side, Sean Harris is qualified. So they have qualified on the 14th. Let me get this right here. I'm going to show you the website. If you're wondering in your county or wherever it's at, right here, you might not be able to see it on the screen, but this is the qualifying. Right here, qualifying candidate information. You go to the Secretary of State's website, go to qualifying. If you want to look it up, Georgia, Secretary of State, Google it. Qualifying candidate information, you put the election year in. You put the primary year in, Republican, Democrat. You can pick federal, state, county. You can view all the candidates. You can go on there and look. Qualifying is all week long. I'm waiting to see Brad Raffensperger qualify so Alex Jones could get have a tear in his beer. Now, I'm going to gonna breeze through this because we're not gonna get stuck. I want to do another story. So I do want to. We're gonna come back to this later in the week. I promise. But the GRA. Someone called me. I called somebody Saturday or something. I was on the phone with someone Saturday. I had several calls going on. Nice cheap cigars. But that being said, so I was on a phone call Saturday, and this individual said to me, "You're quite complimentary to the rank and file of the GRA. The rank and file, you're complimentary," and I am. A lot of good people. I'm not trashing them, but I will say this. It is time that you stop using Brad Raffensperger as the boogeyman. I'm serious. I'm serious. I know the truth here, okay? I have fought this 2020 election with Brad Raffensperger since November of 2019 or 2020, whenever it was, 2020. November 20. I have fought this and fought this. I've studied Gabriel Sterling. I've met and talked with Joe Rossi. I've done everything on this show where the 2020 election is concerned, Brad Raffensperger. So I get it. But when you're sitting there and you hear that the age 60 or over, when you hear who they preyed on, now everybody's trying to divide it up. Well, Nathaniel did not know. He didn't know. Poor little Nathaniel. I mean, you can't make this up. I will tell you this. If the Frost family had this kind of control over your organization, if they had what I call Jim Jones kind of control, if they had the Kool-Aid out on the table, and the Frost family had what I consider Jim Jones kind of control over this entire organization, and they were drinking the Kool-Aid, and now all of a sudden, you didn't realize they were that bad. Well, let me tell you something. I did not realize, because I did not look into their business model, but I didn't realize that First Liberty Building and Loan was running a $140 million Ponzi scheme. But I tell you what I did realize. I did realize they had a Jim Jones type effect on the GRA. I did. I did realize that the entire Frost family held control and the power. And the Nathaniel Darnells and others, you kiss that ring or you cannot get in that power circle. And here's what I also know. I've talked to a lot of people in the trade securities business, okay? Because brother ain't got that kind of cash, okay? No, I don't. You got to break me off something, right? I don't have that kind of money. I'm not wheeling and dealing. I'm not looking for a 14% return. I'm just looking for enough money for a cheap cigar at the end of the day. But I do know I've talked to a lot of people that said this was too good to be true. That there should have been warnings and there should have been blinking lights and warning lights that this is too good to be true. There's something wrong here. So all I'm going to say is I can't tell you what Nathaniel Darnell thought, but could he have been bamboozled by the Frost family and lost all the money? Or could he have been like, let's just keep riding this train to the next town, then we'll get off? Because if you ever watch those American Greed, I like those, right? And I always say to my wife, when they got the 2 million, why didn't they leave? Why didn't they leave then? Because if you'll notice the pattern, if you watch all of these Ponzi schemes, you scratch your head and say, why didn't they leave? So I don't know. I can't make that judgment about Nathaniel Darnell if he knew. But if he worked for Banker's Life and he was trained and he has a background in finance and he was this close to the albino rhino, I mean, at one time, you might look at him and say, we're friends, man. I'm in your wedding. Is this for real? Well, I'll let you know. I'm just saying this. I don't know that this happened. I want to be clear. I'll let you know when we need to get off this train. Maybe Nathaniel Darnell didn't get off the train before it left the tracks. I don't know. I know none of that, but I know this. I'm not going to go for the poor little Nathaniel. And that's what the GRA is trying to do. Because, look, listen, I've told you this before. Until you sit down with the people. Now, I want 2 facts on this before I get to my last story of the day, because I'm going to do another story. You don't want to leave on it. We fear a total loss. One of the investors who met Darnell through the Georgia Republican Assembly. Or they'll run over anybody. All right? Use his political and religious views to gain trust. $350,000. Now, here's the one that really gets me. And, you know, I've read the article. We'll get into it later in the week. But Alex Johnson, the president of the National Federation of Republican Assembly, I'm like, stop doing the Brad Raffens boogeyman dance. Stop. These are real people that lost this money. If you want to attack Brad Raffensperger on the 2020 election, go right ahead. If you want to say he's corrupt as hell, go right ahead. But as far as the Secretary of State's office in Georgia and these people losing their money and telling their story, come on, stop it. And this is where I say to the rank and file, if you're going to fall into the poor little Nathaniel, call me up. Let's talk. Because I want to really know how you could justify falling into the poor little Nathaniel Darnell. Because here's what I'm told in this article, and I'm also told by others. Darnell placed 45 people in First Liberty Investments. Most of them were his clients at Banker's Life. Now, I don't know, but I'm told that's wrong. I'm told that's wrong. That's against the rules. I'm told that I don't know this, that Nathaniel Darnell signed all kinds of agreements to get his license, get his broker's license. He signed agreements. You remember when that damn Katie Frost looked at David Cross in the 3rd District and said, "Can you explain getting fired?" Right? We're very holy. And we cannot justify, you got fired. Well, you know, how many people get fired and go on and do the best thing? David Cross didn't get fired because he referred 45 people to a fund that he signed. Said he wasn't allowed to do that. So Nathaniel Darnell knows, in my understanding, this is wrong. But here's what the GRA does, right? Here's what they do. I thought this is despicable. This is about as despicable to play on pro-life. I'm pro-life. Don't play on this, okay? Nathaniel really believed in First Liberty, and we all trusted the Frost. We all trusted them. Even to the point we had Kool-Aid nightly. Some nights it would be grape, some nights it would be cherry, and then there was tropical punch. Said Patricia, Nathaniel's mother. They brought mom into it. When we lost our investment, that was Nathaniel's inheritance. I'm sorry. I'm having an Erica Kirk moment. I'm sorry. I'm having an Erica Kirk moment. Sorry. Was that wrong? That was Nathaniel's inheritance. He wouldn't have intentionally lost his own inheritance if he had known. Look, my experience with watching TV shows, American Greed, they never get off the train at the stop where they need to get off. I always say, why didn't they leave? So I don't know what he knew. I don't know if he was getting checks and saying inheritance, conspiritance, whatever, right? I have to tell you, this is, and they put this article out. Raffensperger's attempt to whitewash his record by persecuting GRA president. So Nathaniel's mom, what about the people that Nathaniel talked into that lost everything? Not their inheritance, their life savings, their retirement, their golden age. Nathaniel's young enough to get it back, Mom. Okay? Yeah, Mom. He's and I really like Abigail. Nathaniel, shut the hell up. Shut the hell up. Get the hell away from the GRA. Get the hell away from the Republican Party. Get the hell away and go take care of your family. Man up. Get the hell, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to save? What are you trying to prove? Get the hell out of the way, do the right thing right now, and man up and go take care of your family. I mean, go to the altar, get on your knees, ask God to forgive you, whatever you got to do. I understand, Nathaniel. I get it. I mean, things happen, and they're wrong. And you got to move on to the next day. But what are you doing here? Really? Every time I see this, I think to myself, are you guys serious? Now, I'm going to lay this out, and then we're going to get away. We're going to come back tomorrow. Data centers. So here, folks, January 20th, pay attention. Pay close attention to this. Do your own research. January 20th of 2025, right? President Donald Trump gets sworn in with all these billionaires sitting behind him, right? Bezos, billionaires sitting behind him, gets sworn in. His very first day, January, people are so tired of this, but I'm going to tell you, their very first day, he brings in the Oval Office January 21st, 2025. The CEO of SoftBank from Japan, Sam Altman, right? AI, whatever, and Larry Ellison, a CIA contractor, Oracle. This is day one. This is January 21st of 2020. Now, moving right along. You can't make this up. The contract between Anthropic and the United States Department of Defense, Department of War, was effectively ended on February 27, 2026, following a high-profile standoff over AI safety guardrails. Now, this is what's out there, okay? February 27, 2026. But waiting right there on February 27th, Sam Altman. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman announced a landmark agreement with the United States Department of Defense on February 27th. The same day Anthropic was kicked out, Sam Altman, right, was put in the Department of Defense, the largest budget in the government, the Pentagon, the deep state. Now, okay, so Trump orders U.S. government to cut ties with Anthropic. Hegseth declares supply chain risk. This is what he says, all right? So Anthropic's out, okay? Then what happens? President Trump puts out the United States of America will never allow a radical left woke company to dictate how our great military fights and wins war. That decision belongs to your commander-in-chief. Anthropic has made a disastrous mistake. So wait a minute. They're kicked out on the 27th. Sam Altman is in. They're ready. A deal was made. I'm like, whoa. Slow your roll there, player. Slow your roll. Then, Sam Altman just pulled off a deal nobody saw coming. OpenAI just landed a contract to reshape the AI race. Remember, Sam Altman was in that damn office with Larry Ellison on January 21st of 2025. Things have been moving. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman announced late Friday that his company has secured a landmark agreement with the United States Department of Defense. Well, he's having a good day, but that's not it. OpenAI announced a $110 billion funding round with backing from Amazon, NVIDIA, and SoftBank. SoftBank! That was one of the guys in the room. Larry Ellison, SoftBank, Sam Altman. Huh. Now keep in mind, Trump wants to nationalize AI. He wants to put the national structure, the structure for AI national, and take it away from all the states. Keep that in mind. From Amazon, NVIDIA, and SoftBank. That's February 27th also. They had a damn good day. Now, what else do they have? Controlling information. Hollywood's $110 billion earthquake shake up Stunts industry. Let me give you a little bit here. This is David Ellison, Larry Ellison's son. He takes over CBS. David Ellison, son of Oracle founder Larry Ellison, took control of Paramount, CBS, Skydance Media. Then they turn around, right? And took over Warner Brothers deal, February of this month. Paramount won the bidding war to acquire Warner Brothers, right? Discovery, CNN, HBO, Warner Brothers Studio, under the Ellison family control. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Then, go back and look, right? And then you got Larry Ellison, his dad. Larry and David will control if Paramount buys Warner. With the Warner deal, the Ellison media empire grows again. David Ellison is shaking up CBS, right? Okay. Something's going on here. Now, how did Oracle come into play? Larry Ellison, Oracle's chairman, is driving an aggressive expansion to make Oracle the leader in AI and cloud infrastructure, planning to build hundreds of new data centers worldwide, some approaching a gigawatt in size. These facilities, including massive AI training sites, cloud customer units, right? Scale and ambition. Ellison claims Oracle will build more cloud infrastructure data centers than all competitors combined. He was in the room with Trump. Sam Altman in the room with Trump. Sam Altman deal, NVIDIA, SoftBank, right? Amazon, Department of War. Whew. Controlling the media. Let's see here. Oracle is constructing enormous AI training centers, including 70 megawatt, 200 megawatt, and planned gigawatt-sized nuclear-powered facilities. AI and partnerships. Generate AI with major partners including Microsoft, Google, NVIDIA. I'm like, wait a minute. What else is happening here? Yes, the foundational project for Larry Ellison's Oracle Corporation was database contract with the CIA in the late 1970s. The CIA was officially the first customer for the technology that became Oracle. So, don't forget, when we get here, Trump inaugurated January 20th. On January 21st, his first Oval Office meeting. Oracle, Sam Altman, SoftBank, Donald Trump, AI, and Trump wants to make AI under a national umbrella. Wonder who would control that. Wow. I always see this, like that's Vicky Consiglio and Burt Jones. I always wonder. I get a little like, what's going on there? What's going on? What are you saying? What do you say? I love those. Hey, let's over here. Yeah, just saying. All right. Now, I'm telling you right now, I do not advocate. I'm saying it right there. I'm not advocating for. Okay, I'm not advocating for. To buy Prime. I don't know if you got Prime. But this series called Soul Power, the ABA on Prime is about 6 episodes. Check it out. If you're from the 70s, like me, if you grew up with Dr. J, I was talking to a friend of mine this Saturday. Yeah, I was burning those cheap cigars. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said, you know what? You think, because this guy's a little younger than I am, I said, you think Michael Jordan was the first guy to leave the foul line in the sky and dunk? No. That was Dr. J. So the guy's watching the series. He texts me, he says, oh man, this is unreal, right? So, just saying, putting that out there. Don't forget, Republicans have had control of the state of Georgia since 2005. What else do I have here? The ends justify the means only when the means used are such as actual being about the desired and desirable end. Yes, a little. So I was looking this weekend, right? The Pied Piper, right? We're going to talk about that later in the week. The Pied Piper, remember that? And then you can't fix stupid, even with duct tape. Remember that Ron White? You can't fix stupid even with duct tape, right? So let me see what I got here. Uh-oh. I wanted to show you one here. Tomorrow, North Carolina primary. And tomorrow is the Texas primary. John Cornyn is claiming that if Ken Paxton wins the primary, that they will lose the Texas Senate seat. Then you got Jasmine Crockett or whatever her name is. I'm not going to say it's a long shot, but I'm going to say the odds are against him. But if I was in Vegas, I would put my money on Tellerico for the win. I would. I would put my money in Texas on Tellerico for the win. The Democrat. That's right. I'm your host, BKP. You've been watching BKP Politics on voiceofruralamerica.com. Also, you can text me. Substack, Vora at BKP Politics. Several of you write comments on my Substack, and I like it. If they're just outright attacks, I mean, take that somewhere else. But if you have a difference of opinion and you want to boldly put it there, I'm not mad. That doesn't bother me. But, you know, let me just say this. If you call me fat, you think I don't know? I'm a little on the chubby side. Just saying. All right, folks. I'm running late. It's qualifying week. I was watching a hearing for SB 568. We'll talk about that tomorrow, the election bill in Georgia. We'll get that out there. Okay. Let's see what else we have. That might be it for today. It might just be it. I will see you tomorrow.
Daddy! Settle down, man.
Dear Georgia Legislature, no guards or bologna sandwiches were harmed in the making of this video of the Frosty Shit Show saga. Love, Georgia citizens.
What happens in Georgia gets revealed one by one as the facts are unsealed. From the pit comes what they don't want you to see. When the daily nugget of truth is dropped with your host, BKP.